Hey, what's up? I'm Al Cox. I make games, play games, and everything in between. And today we are talking about Buildbox 3.2.1, which just came out. So let's take a look at the release notes and see what's new. What's new in Buildbox 3.2.1? New nodes. This is a great way to go over the new nodes. Going over the new nodes as they come out, super useful. Set speed node. This movement node changes the scene's path speed when an asset follows the path defined by start and point. This node can increase or decrease its current speed to make an asset follow the scene path. So this looks like it could also be used in multiple different scenes to cause different speeds, possibly. When you have the game mode, you can have the game follow a game path, and I think this is what this node is used for. Changes the scene path or the rate of the object will travel forward along the scene path. The higher value, the faster the object will travel forward. As long as this node is active, this value will overwrite the speed value specified in the path move node. When this node is no longer active, the asset will revert back to the speed specified in the path move node. Nice! You can also set a random speed range that occurs when the asset is created or spawned in the game. To do this, enter a value in the field on the right instead of default 0. The value you enter is both subtracted and added from the speed rate you enter, thus setting the minimum and the maximum range for the time range. For example, if you want the speed value of 30 and a range value of 10, you set the random speed range between 10 and 40 seconds. If needed, you can customize this node. For details, see example. And here we're just talking about custom nodes. So the next new node we have is modify timer node. Modify timer node. This action node modifies the amount of time remaining in a timer node. This node contains an apply input that, when activated, subtracts time from the timer in the current asset, or the one it collides with. The following example is an explosion with a countdown that decreases when an asset collides with an object. Make sure there is only one timer in an asset. An asset contains more than one timer. This node will modify the last activated timer. Now, I've recently been using timer nodes more. Very useful, especially if you want to do things multiple times. Here is an example. If it collides with an object, modify the time, and then there is an explosion. Node attribute name, amount, enter the amount of seconds you want to add or subtract from the timer node. A negative value subtracts from the timer's current amount, while a positive adds to the timer current amount. Target. Select an object to affect the timer, this asset, or an asset affected by an if collide node. Self modifies the timer node in this asset. Sensor modifies the timer in an asset affected by an if collide node. Sensor name. If the target is set to sensor, type the name of the desired if collide node. Cool, so you can add or subtract time to your game. So this would work great if you're counting down and you need to get an object to keep more time from running out, or you want the time to go faster, so you get objects to make the time count down faster. Multiple ways. Next, we have set visible node. This action node shows or hides all of the asset's 3D models and images. This applies to input, sets the asset visibility as a specified in the visible attribute. This is cool. By getting this, you can hide or make visible certain objects. So this can be used in a dark room, and you get a light bulb and objects appear and or disappear. A lot of functionality for this when making a group of assets and 3D model images visible or invisible. You got the name, a custom name for this node if needed. Visible. Click the checkbox to change the visibility of the asset. If unchecked, all of the asset's content nodes will be hidden. Definitely going to have to set time to play around with this node. Next, we got the timer node. I recently discovered this node and use it a lot now. So I think this is a very valuable node to both understand and utilize. All these nodes are very useful. When playing with Buildbox, you will find that you use some nodes more than others, and that's something to take note of, because then the more you use nodes, the more you understand them, and it just becomes become second nature. Timer node. This action node sets the number of seconds to be counted down before the time output activates another node. The table below describes what happens when each node input or output is connected. So we have the input set to enabled, reset, or pause. Enabled starts the timer, restarts the timer, setting it to 0 or reverse checkbox is selected. The option panel to the specified time value. Pause pauses the countdown. The timer will resume when the connected output is no longer active. For the output, we have time out and time value. Time output activates the connected nodes when the timer reaches 0. Time value sends current time information to connected custom nodes. This following is an example of the time explosion asset. We have a 3D model. If collide with an object, then set a timer of 3 seconds to cause the asset itself to explode. And then we have a time value format here at MMSS. And here are the node attributes for the timer: enabled, reset, pause, timeout, time value. So time into the number of seconds to be counted down. You can also set a random time range for the countdown when the asset is created or spawns in the game. To do this, enter a value in field on the right instead of the default 0. The value you enter is both subtracted from and added to the number of seconds you enter for the countdown, thus setting the minimum and the maximum value for the time range. Here's an example. If you enter the time value of 90 in a range of 10, you set the random countdown range between 80 to 100 seconds. Number of events. Enter the number of times the timer will reset on its own. You can also set the random reset range for the number of events. To do this, enter a value in the field on the right instead of the default 0. The value you enter is both subtracted from and added to the number of events you enter, thus setting the minimum and maximum values for the range. For an example, if you set number of event value of 5 and a range value of 3, you set the random range between 2 and 8. Reversed, select the checkbox to make the timer count up instead of down, starting at 0. Fascinating, I didn't even know that was an option. Reversed, cool. And then we have time value format. Select an option, determine how the remaining time appears or is displayed in the UI node. Fractional seconds displays the milliseconds as a decimal, example 7.2. MM:SS displays the unit as a 2-digit, example 0720. Oh, minutes and seconds, I see. And seconds displays seconds only, example 7 seconds. These are the new nodes. Be sure to take time, go through them, and explore. You can add a lot of different functionality to your game, but you can only add it to your game if you know about these nodes. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already by hitting that bell, as I put out content daily. If there's anything you would like to see, specifics with nodes in Buildbox, let me know what node you're having the most trouble with, and I'll see if I can't make a video to help describe how that node works. Till next time, stay safe out there, and peace.